Hey guys, so welcome back to Indirect Knowledge. So tonight we have a very special tarot card reading, and just for the sake of privacy now, this is interesting. Both names actually start with a J, so it's a tarot card reading for one person whose first initial is J, about someone else who's another gentleman whose first name is J as well. So it's hope I don't get you guys too confused. I hope I don't get too confused with this, but just for the sake of privacy and the spelling of the first name, it was a little bit different. So I just wanted to kind of, for the protection of privacy and to keep things just kind of, you know, I don't like to infringe on people's privacy or anything on this channel, as you guys know all too well. So we'll just go with the first initials, J and J. And this question is really, it's a question about this one particular person, and it's the question basically was posed in the way of just like, this is about this person, so we want to find out information about this person. So for that, we're just going to do a 7-card reading. We're going to learn about the past, the present, the future, kind of see where the energy is right now, find out kind of where the person who's wanting to know is kind of about mentally, what their expectations or their attitude is about this person. And then finally, we're going to look at the outcome and really what the key is to getting that outcome to take place or not to take place, that kind of thing. So let's get started. Huh. All right, so let's dive right in. So the first card that we have is the past. In the past, I'm calibrated to about 3 months out, 3 months back. And depending on the heaviness of the card, I can kind of give some more perspective. And the card from the past is the King of Cups. Kings are about authority. Cups, of course, are about relationships. They're also about emotions, the unconscious, feelings, those kind of things. This king is really in control of his own emotions, his own feeling. And he knows how to read people pretty well as far as their emotions and how to keep people kind of from exploiting their own emotions or getting a little too, so he can keep people kind of stable, and he's very sort of judicious in a sense, And that's what this cup really represents. So as far as this person that we're talking about, the person in question whose initial starts with J, he is, in the past, he's been pretty good at manipulating people's emotions in order to get them to either calm down or to kind of fit into his, fit under his thumb, under his authority, that kind of thing. So he has a way of assessing people's emotions and knowing what makes them tick. And in doing so, you can be deceptive, you can be useful or helpful, try to help people. It really all depends on the character of the individual in question. But that's really what that King of Authority is. And that was in the past. Now, where is this person now in the present moment? Well, we have the card here. It's the Fool. The Fool's not necessarily a bad card, but in this particular spread, it's not exactly a great card either. This is a kind of where we have a momentary lapse, is kind of what I'm picking up. This person's having sort of a momentary lapse of foolishness. And what I mean by that is, before where they were able to handle their own emotions and stay in check with everything, now this person is kind of having like some brain fog or something like that, and they're just not really their normal self. And so they're just kind of like going off on a whim, not really doing probably what they would normally do in a given situation. And it's kind of new experiences, kind of, they just want to have fun, or something has attracted them, and now they're kind of in the mesh of it all. And that's what's really going on with this person right now. I don't see it being a really, really bad long-term thing, but at the same time, it just could be like a momentary interruption of their own character. They might do things otherwise that they wouldn't do, that kind of thing. Now, this person whose initial starts with J. As far as the future goes and what happens next, like I said, I'm calibrated to about 3 months out. And depending on the energy of the card and what I pick up can kind of more or less tell me more specifically kind of what the time frame is on things. So we have the Two of Pentacles. This is juggling things, balancing tradition with, new things that could be new ideas, new thoughts, things like that. So it's sort of like, do I move forward? Do I stay with the tried and true, the things that I know? It's trying to make sense of those kind of things. And if you look at the water in the backdrop, some choppy water back there, those boats are not, maybe those people are getting seasick or something like that. But you see this person, they're just kind of like, but they're on solid ground, but they're just like, should I put my foot in the water or should I just stay where I'm at? That's kind of the energy here. 2 is also about relationships, and the fact that there's the inverted 8, the infinity sign here. It's also about like kind of weighing out things as far as the possibility of a soulmate type situation, somewhere along those lines. So it could be that at some point we see some of that. I don't see a whole lot in the way of relationships per se here. It's just sort of like, in this whole spread, we don't really see a lot of that. This is really about the individual though. And right now it's sort of like they're not conflicted, but they're just a little bit, trying to stay grounded and figuring out what's the best way to do that. Do we kind of stay with some of the same ideas that we've had, or maybe try something new? But what's the possibility that they will try something new? It's normally not as favorable as staying with the tried and true for this type of individual. But it's definitely a possibility. So that's the future and what have you, as far as like where we see things kind of going. So now the energy surrounding this Fool card that we have is this Chariot. So Chariot is about taking control. It's also about like external strength in a lot of ways. It's about putting our strength out there, letting it be known that we're not going to be taken advantage of, that kind of thing. So this sort of dilutes the foolishness of this card a little bit. But it's also somewhat egotistical a little bit when you add this combination, the Fool and the Chariot kind of put together. Sort of a little bit of ego can kind of creep in there and stuff like that, where somebody might feel a little bit of resentment or something and then intentionally do something that maybe they normally wouldn't do on a good day. So that's where they're at right now. There's also kind of a spiritual intention as well. So it could be that maybe what they're trying to pursue or do could be something to do with spirituality, something in that vein. But it's just sort of unlike them. Like whatever this is going on with this person right now is sort of unlike them, outside the norm of their character. So that's kind of where we're at with that. Now, as far as the person asking for the reading, this is the Ace of Swords. So it's new ideas, new thoughts, new concerns, different things like that going on. And we see that with the Ace being something new. Swords are about, could be conflict, but it could also very well just be thoughts or ideas, things in the mind. And trying to get to the bottom of things. And so that's kind of where this is really going. So that makes sense too in the context of the reading. So what is the outcome here? Now the outcome is the Hierophant. This makes really good sense to me in this reading, and I'll tell you why. Because right now this person, when we were looking at the future coming forward, this is a card that we drew. And this is about, do we stay with things that have worked in the past? Do we move forward? Do we kind of balance the two out? Do we do a combination of the two? What's going on here? This card here pairs really well with this in this reading. And this is a major arcana card, and this is the Hierophant. The Hierophant is sort of like, sometimes people call this the Pope card. And basically, when this card is drawn, it's especially like in this kind of a position where it's kind of your outcome, it's normally indicative of going with tradition, staying with the tried and true. It's the things that make us who we are, our value system, and that. 5's about change, of course, in numerology, but this particular card is really about knowing ourselves and getting to know ourselves better, And it's really about, our own life philosophy, our culture, our backdrop, all of these kind of things, and staying true to that. It's like if we lost everything and we were like dropped off onto another planet or dropped off onto another continent or something like that, we would find people like ourselves that had similar values, and those would be the people that we would probably most connect with, and those would be our support system. So even though we didn't know those people, we would still have some commonality with them because of our own past, and that's really what this card is bringing up. So this is just sort of like, it has something to do with, like, again, we have this sort of the spiritual kind of new kind of directedness, and it's really kind of this thing about like our identity, our core, our root, and getting to know that better, and that eventually coming back out. Right now, maybe it's not coming out so well because of this full position that we find ourselves in. This is kind of the start of a journey. But toward the end of this whole thing, as far as the outcome goes, in the next couple of months, we'll start to see more and more of this come about. And so this person will be more identifying with, people more like them, have their values and that kind of thing. And that will be important. How does a person get there from where they're at right now, though? Well, we have the Six of Swords here. And it's about like, if you look on one side of the boat, we have those rough waters, and that's what's going on right now with this Fool card and that. If you look on the other side of the boat, though, where the boat is headed, it's calmer, stiller waters. So things are a little bit easier moving forward. And that's where this adjustment needs to start to take place. We need to pick up the pieces. We need to sidestep whatever this interruption was, as sort of this segue into something else. We need to get back on track. We need to veer back on track to where we were at before. And this is really symbolic because we started in the past with the king on the water, if you guys remember. And now we're back on the water. Except this time we're going from whatever dry land we were on or whatever choppy waters. We're getting back into a good place. And that's eventually what we need to do, is just move ourselves more forward. So for this person that we're doing the reading for them personally, for them to get to a good place and all, it's going to just require their own time, making that happen. They're going to need to just take a little bit of time to kind of reassess things, refocus, get back on track a little bit. That Hierophant card is going to be like getting back in touch with their roots, so to speak. And once they do that, once they start to get back in touch with their roots, get back on track with things, get readjusted to the fold, whatever you want to call it, things are going to be much better for them. They're going to realize kind of the woe of their ways, and they're going to be like, I wish I hadn't really veered off track. But there's redemption there, and that person will get back on track. Things will be good. They have to endure a little bit of loss here and there, a little bit of unhappiness or some situations that are less than perfect. But eventually things start to even back out. I could see this person maybe about 8 or 9 months from now being in a really good situation where like their life has become more back on track. Stability has really hit their life and they're doing much better. So anyways, I hope this helps. I hope this helps you out as your tarot coach. If you have any questions or you need anything, please reach out to me. I'm always available to you. Thanks for tuning into this video, everyone. You can like the video, of course, if you do. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell notification, and then whenever we come online and do these live streams, if you happen to jump into the chat and you want to get a question or something answered, normally I have a little bit of extra time that we can do some extra questions for people and stuff, should they have some questions in that, aside from the readings that I'm actually doing for other people. So we do these pretty regularly, so it can be very helpful for anyone that wants a tarot card reading. Also, if you want to support the channel, if you want to support the work of the monks and what we do, you can get all that information in the description below this video. I'll give you the office telephone number that you can reach me directly, and my email address. If you need like a spiritual direction or a tarot card reading, you're more than welcome to reach out to me and stuff via email, and we can make that happen. Again, if you want to support the monks, help us spread love for God to others, give a small donation or something like that, or any size donation for that matter, you can just go to helpbydonating.com And again, all this information will be in the description below the video. So guys, thanks so much for tuning in. It's always a lot of fun for me to do this service. I really enjoy this particular service. This is one of the services that I do. So thanks for tuning in. And if you guys have any questions or anything, like I said, just reach out. Much love and many blessings. See you guys on the next episode of Indirect Knowledge.